Greetings everyone. First of all, I would like to say thank you to everyone who comes to watch this webinar. And before we get started, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Reynaldy Ananda and I will act as the today moderator along this webinar. And today our presenter will be Bagus Ramadhan, and so you get familiar with the topic, I will explain a bit about it. And as you can see from the title, the main focus of the topic will be the relationship between adolescents' suicidal behavior and learning achievement. In modern times, against the background of global social and psychological problems, suicidal behavior occupies one of the leading positions. The problem lies not only in the growing dynamics of suicidal risk, but also in their unpredictability and difficulty in resolving them. Despite significant research on the problems, in some countries and the use of the necessary methods and techniques, the problems of suicide still remains one of the problematic issues. The number of suicides has been increasing in our republics for the last 10 years, as well as all over the world. At the same time, suicides are more prevalent among adolescents and young people. Next, Bagus will explain the detail and further about this problem.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Well, hello everyone, I hope you're safe wherever you are. As the moderator said, today I'm going to be the presenter for this webinar. I'm going to talk about the study of relationship between learning achievements and adolescents' suicidal behavior. Next, let's see the definition and history of suicidal behavior. It should be noted that the term suicidal behavior and suicide was first introduced into scientific circulation by the French sociologist Durkheim, 1994. According to Durkheim, the word suicide is derived from a Latin word, suicidium. It is the act of intentionally causing one's own death. Of course, in the case of a complete suicide, this intention is very easy to determine, but very difficult to prove.
To be short, suicide is the act of one to cause his own death. This action is committed not without causes, and there are several causes of suicide that will be explained by Bagus.
Mistakes, inappropriate remarks, and reprimands in the training process leave deep traces in students and adolescents when they're at sensitive age. In general, there are several factors that contribute to the study of psychopedagogical issues of suicidal behavior in adolescents. These are few causes that play the major role in adolescent suicidal behavior. First, people such as teachers, educators who engage in pedagogical activities do not have the necessary knowledge about the adolescent's suicidal tendency and its features, and educational work in this sphere is insufficient. Second, modern adolescents live in a dynamic society where social and psychological adaptation is intense. Third, it is important to emphasize the attitudes of teenagers toward school. Conflict with classmates, teachers' criticism, problem in training, the phenomenon of intra-group pressure.
So, from the causes above, it can be said that adolescents' suicidal behavior related to learning achievement is their incapability to deal with their social environment, including misunderstanding and pressure. Moving on, Bagus will continue on the common symptoms of suicidal behavior.
Firstly, drastic personality change. For who thinking about suicide will have drastic personality change. Sometimes they will be very sensitive, feeling gloomy and highly temperamental or sensitive emotions. Secondly, agitation, restlessness, and distress. There will be noticeable changes in eating or sleeping habits. They will always feel distressed when they're doing something. Lastly, doing dangerous life-threatening things and having delusions or hallucinations. They regularly while doing self-harming begins from actions that are risk into those that are extreme.
The symptoms mentioned before by Bagus is important for us to notice and handle immediately. The symptom doesn't accurately indicate that someone will commit suicide, but we should always be aware of it, even for ourselves. And lastly, Bagus will explain how this problem can be taken care of and we even avoid it.
First, talk about mental health and suicide. Parents should not be negligent in paying attention to the condition of their child. They need to talk with their children if they have problems. They need sensitive to their children's condition. Second, identify gatekeepers. The trained gatekeepers are prepared to identify risk in vulnerable youth and connect them with mental health and suicide prevention research when necessary. It can give positive benefit because adults in regular contact with youth may be best positioned to recognize suicide risk, and because it uses human connection to bring an individual's risks out into the open. Finally, restrict access to means of suicide. We need to keep a suicidal teen away from items that could enable self-harm, such as firearms, sharp objects, or other implements that could be used in a suicide attempts. That's all from me. Thank you for your attention.
And thank you very much, Bagus Ramadhan, for your presentation. And to sum it up, it can be noted that there is an inverse relationship between learning achievement and suicidal risk. It can be argued that it is possible to prevent suicidal behavior in adolescents by reducing anxiety, aggression, also frustration. Alright everyone, that is all for today's webinar. Let us know at the comment section if you have some questions. See you.